Well, the time is finally here. After days of anticipation, when is the Guru gonna get built? When do we see it as a complete bike? Today is the rebuild resurrection of this retro, vintage, kind of Cannondale Killer V. As far as I can tell, going through the list in my mind and the list I wrote down, I've got everything we need to start and finish this build. So without boring you on details of what this is, why it is, and going over the fact that we refinished the paint, which is a different video, let's just jump into it. I think first and foremost, the thing I want to tackle is talking about the drivetrain that we're going to go with. It is a mix of 10-speed and 11-speed parts that will effectively, at the end of the day, be a 9-speed setup. Why is that? Well, because the 26-inch wheels that I inherited from a friend still have a 7-speed free hub body on it. What that means is an 8-speed, a 9-speed, a 10-speed, 11 or 12, any of those Hyperglide cassettes will not fit. And the way around that for our purpose is to take a 10-speed cassette, drop one of the cogs to narrow down the width of the cassette, and then tune the derailleur to shift only 9 times and not do the last shift into the wheel. That is going to be our drivetrain option. Until, of course, one day I decide to swap free hub bodies or build different wheels. But for now, these are the wheels we've got. This is the drivetrain we're gonna use. And I know what you're wondering, because we've done this in the past. No, you can't just put a 9-speed cassette on. It would be too wide. You'd still need to drop a cog. The bottom bracket and cranks are a triple that came off of my Felt 9.6 that I never ended up using because I immediately swapped that thing to 1x. So this Guru is being treated to a absolutely unused, brand new bottom bracket, set of cranks, and a new narrow wide 30-tooth 96 BCD chainring. See? New. There was a few instances where I was just trying to test fit and tighten this quill stem, and all of the threads had just a little bit more friction than I'm happy with, as well as the stem not necessarily wanting to come out of this fork originally. I think that's all dealt with now, fully taken apart. A little bit of a Scotch-Brite rub down on everything, cleaned up, re-greased, should be good as new. So, what did I actually build this thing with? Well, to start, It is a Guru number 3.7 frame set. It was likely someone's custom built mountain bike in the late 80s or early 90s. The wheels are Shimano Elevio hubs laced to Area 26 by 1.5 width single wall rims with I don't know what kind of spokes. These wheels came off of another Rockhopper. The tires, which I think make the whole thing and just absolutely change the way vintage mountain bikes look, especially due to the cartoonish large size of them, are Schwalbe knobby nicks. These came off of the wheels that were on my trail bike when that thing was still donning 26-inch wheels. The stem, under my assumption, is the one that came with the bike when it was probably built. The bars, I have no idea where they're from. I can't remember. Hayes brake levers are actuating slightly shorter than mountain bike V-brakes. They somewhat rub on this 2.4 front tire. So that's something that's going to need to be dealt with at some point. Shifting, as I mentioned at the start of this video, is dealt with by a 10-speed SRAM X5 shifter hooked up to an 11-speed SRAM Rival 1 rear derailleur. So it is clutched and can easily go up to probably a 50-tooth cassette if I had one, but in this case we are using an 11 through 36 10-speed cassette with the 13-tooth cog removed. So we've got a bizarre jump from an 11 up to a 15, which you can totally notice when you do that first shift, but it does allow us to use a modern clutched drivetrain on the 7-speed free hub body that we have on there right now. The cranks are early unbranded Shimano Elevio. I believe they're called like FCM 4000s, with the triple rings removed in place of a Black Spire snaggletooth narrow wide chainring. In my opinion, tires and modern drivetrains on vintage bikes wake them up the most out of anything you can do to them, and it's kind of my inspiration behind doing a lot of this stuff. Throwing on a newer, more quiet 1x drivetrain with a modern tire that grips and works really well is like the easiest way to bring all the life back into these things. Not to mention the bigger tires just look sick. If I am completely honest, I am still somewhat undecided on the actual aesthetics here. I am far more a fan of a more traditional front triangle situation, less so much the Cannondale Killer V design, but I am glad that I took the day to actually put this thing together. I've been putting off my vintage retro mountain bike build for a long enough time now that it's like, okay, let's make it happen. Rip the Band-Aid off. This is the frame set you have. Put something together and then figure it all out later. It still is cool to see what it looks like all built up. I couldn't help at least seeing what it looks like built up. Okay, that's it. This bike is built.
We interrupt this program to give you a...